Let's go, LSU fans. This will not be your typical commitment video as Brandon Brown joins this loaded 2025 crop of Tigers. And I understand that fringe 3-star, 4-star recruiting ranking won't excite a lot of you, but watch this. Ball skills, one-handed interception on the screen, and the speed to take it to the house. I'm going to be real. At the end of this video, you're going to see one of the more ridiculous things I have ever seen from a defensive tackle on a high school highlight reel. And just look at this quote from when he committed to Texas a few months ago. I play physical, watch my film, and you'll see. So, also later in this video, I give a ridiculous high-end comparison to Brandon Brown that will excite all of you. But first, as we always do in every video, we start off with the actual recruitment, and honestly, 90% of this is Bo Davis. So the reason why he committed to Texas at first, remember, this is a young man out of Florida. He committed to Texas to play for Bo Davis. Brandon Brown saw the defensive tackle development under Bo Davis, and, well, he said when he committed to Texas, that was one of the biggest reasons why he was committing to the Longhorns. So Bo Davis, of course, leaves Texas and goes to LSU, and Brandon Brown follows suit. Now, could there be a potential flip back to Texas? Maybe. My sources tell me that, well, he's always loved Texas. I mean, you just look at his actions. He visited Texas in Austin not too long ago. That's a pretty long trip, obviously coming from Florida. So, yeah, there's always that interest out there, and there's always interest when it comes to a player of this level of athletic ability. But Brandon Brown, I feel pretty good that he wants to play for Bo Davis, and Bo Davis, of course, will be the LSU defensive line coach for as long as he wants to be, knowing the contract and the situation that he's under. I am really, really excited about this. This is a really good job by Brian Kelly and the entire staff recruiting him, but obviously the big reason is Bo freaking Davis. Now, as a fringe 3 and 4-star guy, I've said it on live streams repeatedly that the recruiting rankings have gotten better. Now, I want you to watch this clip again. This is a quarterback essentially tapping out. Brandon Brown beat this guy's brains in all night, that he's just taking a knee. This is not a knee, of course, to burn clock at the end of the game. This is a knee of submission. When you watch the film, he is truly physical. Now, one more thing on the Texas side of things, and, you know, you look at this class overall, there's going to be a lot of guys that commit in 2025 that LSU's direct competitor for his services is Texas, right? We've seen it with Aiden Anding. We've seen it with Zion Williams. And, look, it's tough. I think you can make a very strong case moving forward, especially now that Bo Davis is on the staff, especially now that Texas has done a really good job recruiting Louisiana, that the Longhorns very well could be the biggest competitor for LSU in recruiting, more so than even Texas A&M and more so than even Alabama. And what makes that very interesting in this case is this is a young man from Florida, right? This is not a kid that we're dipping into the Texas border for or vice versa. This is pretty crazy when you think about it. And that's just going to happen, especially early on, considering Bo Davis is a great recruiter and developer. And a lot of these defensive linemen that LSU goes after, we're very interested in Texas. And Bo Davis, of course, was a deciding factor in their recruitment. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about this player. You know, when I watch you, it's tough when it comes to defensive line play because the biggest jump I feel from Power 5 down or just any level up and down is the offensive line play. And obviously, the offensive line quality has a direct impact on the matchups that you have when it comes to being a defensive lineman. So, yes, it is a little concerning when you see an unbelievably dominant tape, but you see him going up against guys that'll be selling insurance here in about 10 years. And I get that. But you do kind of have to calibrate it, use your own eye tests, and honestly, Brandon Brown is just spectacular. I not only watched this junior tape, I watched his sophomore tape, and we'll get to a few interesting plays that he made as a freshman that you've honestly never seen before from a defensive tackle. Now, I want to talk about the future of LSU's defensive tackle room and how Brandon Brown fits in. Well, the first thing is a key piece for LSU's future is Dominic McKinley, right? You have some good transition pieces here on the defensive line that has a year or two of eligibility left. Obviously, Gio Paez will be, a great little comb-over player here. A guy like Jacobian Guillory, I feel, does have an extra year of eligibility after this one. Maybe. I'm not totally sure about that. But honestly, this defensive tackle room needs replenishing. And, of course, Zion Williams is a very interesting player that could be a part of LSU's future on signing day. But Brandon Brown, I think, has the real potential of being an explosive three-technique type of player who can also give you some one-technique and shade reps as well versus double teams. And, look, I understand. This is going to be a stretch, but I could also see him playing a heavier defensive end role in certain packages where he's literally lined up, head up on the offensive tackle or to the edge of the offensive tackle in a five, just depending on your numbering system. Basically, the outside shoulder, a traditional defensive end role, even though I do view him more as a defensive tackle role. Now, what individually do I like about him? Obviously, we've talked about the get off. We talked about the pad level. We talked about the energy, the ball skills. But something else that I really love about him is just the violence. There is a certain level of visceralness that you see when he plays, right? There is a timidness you see in the offensive lineman that he just has, right? I'm not even sure if it is athleticism per se. It's just that dog mentality that I am going to throw you around like a rag doll, and not all defensive linemen have that. And look, it's just kind of hard to describe. I evaluate defensive linemen probably harder than any other position. So when I tell you that I really do like what I see, obviously it's going to take a lot of focus from him, knowing that he's with the right coach, knowing he's in the right system. If he truly locks in, this guy will be an all SEC level player. And I'll just say, and I do think at this point, despite what the rankings say, he is the best defensive player that LSU has committed thus far in 2025. Now, this is what could get me into some trouble. We're going to go high-end comp here. And I don't really like comping players, but the similarities here are just too good. Byron Murphy, the number one defensive tackle in this last NFL draft class. Recruiting rankings nearly similar, right? Byron Murphy, like Brandon Brown, a fringe 4-star recruit. 2 services had him at a 3-star, and 2 services had him at a 4-star. Height, weight, nearly identical. High school statistics, you're looking at Brandon Brown's right now. And when you actually dive a little bit deeper, when you look at his stats, you'll see something very strange. So I went all the way to Max Preps. His freshman season, he was actually a running back along with being a defensive end. Kind of like this H-back hybrid type of player. And you see, freshman and sophomore season, he has a few catches here, but he also has some ridiculous runs, 17 carries for 124 and a 45-yard tutty, which I'm about to show you here in just a moment. So, once again, that is a really high-end, perfect comp of Byron Murphy, but the similarities are there. I don't know if he's going to be that good because that's truly spectacular, but it's possible. It is really possible when you watch him play. So, here's one of those H-back reps where he catches a football. Now, watch this broken tackle. Throw him off. This is, once again, a freshman in high school doing this. Now, is this freshman competition? Kind of hard to say. But he's playing both ways here, especially if this is varsity competition. Playing fullback, H-back, and also playing end. It's ridiculous. When you see this level of athleticism, you don't just overthink it. Yeah. Are there some scheme fit issues here? Sure. Absolutely. But don't overthink it. This guy is truly a fantastic player, and I can't wait to see him play for the LSU Tigers next year. You see the ball skills to get it stripped. Now, I want you to watch this carry, all right? Look at the afterburners. Make this guy miss, house it. How many high-end defensive tackle prospects do you see do that? Not many. Brandon Brown, welcome to LSU. Let's freaking go. So comment down below. As you can see, there was a little bit more overhype in this video. You guys know, whether you watch my live streams or whatever, I'm a little bit more measured with my takes. But for real, flame me in the comment section all you want down below, and floating in your face some other recruiting commitment videos. It's going to be an awesome week. Let's freaking go. It is PHL. And tonight we're doing ribs. Let's go.